Hold on, guys. So Extraction. Extraction stars Chris Hemsworth as a fearless black market mercenary who ends up saving a kidnapped son of an imprisoned international crime lord. First of all, I wasn't really sure if I was going to do a review for this, but I started seeing it everywhere. It popped up. Everybody else was doing reviews on it, and I was hearing a lot of good things. So let's get in with the positives. First and foremost, the action. It was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty decent. It was great visuals, great fighting sequences, almost comparable to John Wick. I mean, I had to see it for myself, but that's what I kept on hearing everybody else compare it to. And as soon as I kept on hearing that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm down. Of course, this is a Netflix movie. I probably don't have to tell y'all. I don't really go for Netflix movies that much, but given everything that's going on, what choice do I have? That's not trying to down Netflix. I have no problem with Netflix. I just don't really see the point in reviewing most of those. But again, given everything that's going on, why not? But I'm glad I did this one. Because like I said, the action sequences in this was comparable to John Wick. The way he would shoot people, the way he would fight, just like Keanu Reeves in John Wick. I was shocked. And I think that's all thanks to director Sam Hargrave, who's actually a stunt man in Hollywood. He's actually worked on films such as the Avengers movies, Captain America Civil War. He's basically a stunt person turned director. And in the world of John Wick, if you had told me before John Wick came out that a stunt person was directing a movie of this magnitude, I would have said, yeah, but now anything's possible. The story was riveting. I liked the whole concept of this drug lord going after this other drug lord's son just to get to him, to the other drug lord, and you have that tensity about it. He had to have been like maybe in his mid-teens, but he was like one of those innocents that Chris Hemsworth's character was trying to save, and it just made it all the more interesting, and it was pretty cool. It's very solid. It doesn't fool around. It doesn't pussyfoot around or anything. It just gets to the point. And let's not forget Chris Hemsworth. He was badass. Outside of the MCU, you know that this man can act because he doesn't necessarily need that. Judging by this movie, he doesn't need that to like survive in Hollywood. This man can act, and he did a pretty solid job in this. He showed great emotions, great depth. Fighting was awesome. I heard it did kind of take a toll on him, but he a big man, he all right. I know we're all human, but someone of his magnitude, I'm pretty sure he probably got over it quick. He plays a really broken character, which I'll get into later. But again, this man can act, and he's proven once again that he doesn't really need the MCU to survive. Because he just came fresh off of Avengers Endgame last year. And I assume he started work on this like right after, I don't know. But he was pretty solid in this. Chris and the kid. Their chemistry was pretty good. I liked the way they built their character up. I liked the bond that they had. It was almost sort of like a father and son bond. Circling back to these action sequences, it was actually pretty decent. I didn't really find that much problems with it, although I will get into a little bit of what I did have a problem with, but that was like close to the end of the movie. But circling around the action sequences, it was good. And there was a scene in this where it was a one shot. It's the only way I can describe it. They cut it, but they cut it in a way to where you couldn't really tell. But to the trained eye, especially if you watch as much movies as I do, you can kind of tell where the cuts were. But they edited it together so smoothly that it looks like one shot. And unlike that dumb rhythm section, which sucked, like that one scene I mentioned where there was that whole one-shot scene in the car with her being chased and all. That was in the car. In this, at least, they got out of the car and actually showed crap. Just saying. That's one major improvement that this one had over that one. You know, talking about the one-shot scene, that is. But it was actually pretty cool. Gotta talk about the villains. They were pretty intimidating. I gotta admit, they were intimidating. The ones that was after this kid, the ones that was after this drug lord's kid, they were so evil that it actually showed them dumping a kid off the roof. 10 or 11-year-old. I mean, that's how evil and scummy these people were. They wrote them in really well because of that. You really want to hate them, and that's what you want to do for characters like this. You don't want to write them in dull. And I know it's never good seeing something like that happen. But in order for you to make a good movie, in order for you to write good characters in, good villains, you kind of gotta have to go a little harsh. Does it happen much in other movies with other villains killing off kids? No. But in this case, it was kind of necessary, but at the same time, I hated seeing that, which made me hate the villains even more, which is what you want. Now, I'm not going to go on here and say that I'm an expert at this. I'm no filmmaker. I'm not even a critic. I'm just a movie lover, just like the rest of y'all. I'm just saying, you got to have the villains be hated enough, and what more of a reason for you to hate somebody than to kill a kid off. The writing of Anthony and Joe Russo. These were the guys that did Captain America Civil War and a couple of the Avengers movies that made them the way they are today. I'm happy that they have found other projects to do. Other than that 21 Bridges, which they only produced that one, they didn't really much care for that. But this they wrote, and I gotta say, it was actually pretty good. I'm happy that they're finding other projects outside of the MCU. Again, circling back to what I said about Chris Hemsworth, you don't really need one set of movies like an MCU or DCEU for you to be successful. As long as you got strong will and is willing to come up with anything that you can think of, and if anybody will listen to you, you can make it. And that's what I think the Russo brothers are doing. I gotta say, they're not disappointing, that's for sure. They made a really good movie by making Extraction. Okay, moving on to my mixed. There was a little bit of a tone and pacing issue. They did have a little bit of a slow moment, but what saves it for me is Chris Hemsworth's performance. There was a moment where you get to find out his backstory, and it's pretty tragic. You really gotta feel for this man. He's a mercenary, and he's got this whole past, and he keeps on flashing back. You can't really tell what it is until like later on, but then he explains it all, and you really got to feel deep emotions and feel for this guy. Like I said before, he's broken, and there's a really good reason for that. But again, about the tone and pacing, he made up for it, and that's why I'm putting this in the mixed. He made up for it because the man can freaking act. There was some moments by the end of the film that was CGI. You could tell that it was CGI, some of the explosions and some of the action sequences by the end. I don't know if that had something to do with what's going on, like they were in the middle of the production and they had to shut down quickly. They probably didn't have enough time to finish that much, but they did good enough. It did look a little cheesy in some spots, but it was okay. In other words, I've seen worse. And there's this little segment with David Harbour, who is in Stranger Things, which I've never really seen yet. It's a TV show on Netflix as well. The only thing I know this guy playing was Hellboy that came out last year, the much hated Hellboy. But there was something that happened with him. He plays Chris Hemsworth's character's best friend, or so-called best friend. Something happens with his character that I kind of seen coming a mile away. Just to me, it just didn't seem like they hit it well. I expected it. When it happened, I was like, well, I've seen that coming. Maybe it was because I've seen that same scenario play out in other movies so many times. It's just so oversaturated. I don't know, but they just didn't really do that well with the writing on that. But again, I can get past it. So bottom line, if you want to see Chris Hemsworth kicking ass and taking names, John Wick style, while at the same time not expecting too much, then this is for you. A definite acquired taste. So, Extraction, have you seen it? What did you think of it? Did you find it thrilling, exciting, or have you seen better? Jump down in the comment section below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you hadn't already. Stay tuned for more videos and reviews coming soon. Peace, the Reptastic.